Welcome to Solutionaries, the show where we celebrate creative thinkers and doers in our community. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Lewis Bolden. In today's episode, you're going to see a few of our latest stories focused on problem solvers in our community and the solutions they're bringing to you. So let's take a look at what's in store for today. Detroit is a city known for many things: the automotive industry, Coney Island hot dogs, and unfortunately, it's dangerous crime. But when it comes to crime, Detroit has really turned things around. Coming up on the show, we're going to join Victor Williams as he investigates how community policing is helping Detroit rewrite its reputation. And check this out, scammers are getting smarter when it comes to getting their hands on your money. We'll join Tiffany Salome over in Jacksonville, where the Solutionaries team is going to help you learn how to identify credit card skimmers and give you some pointers on the best way to protect yourself and protect your money. But first, we're talking long COVID, a mysterious illness that can show up after you get infected with COVID-19. Some of the people burdened with long COVID may be feeling a little more hopeful after its recognition as an official condition. To help get an idea of why this new designation is such a huge deal, Courtney Friedman spoke with doctors and patients in San Antonio, Texas. And that's where we're going to start the show today. Take a look.
Hello, I'm coming in. How are you?
This is an appointment 16-year-old Taylor Presson has every couple months, checking up on bizarre new symptoms that showed up immediately after she got COVID in 2022.
The fatigue was really extreme, but I could roll my ankles just by walking. I have rib subluxations, so at any one point I can talk to you and have a rib pressing into my lung. I slept a lot, and I started to have a lot of full body pain, to the point that when I went to physical therapy, I taped both of my ankles, both of my knees, and wore ankle braces.
Her doctors would not relate these issues to COVID, calling her debilitating joint issues growing pains.
When you were explaining your symptoms, what were the doctor's reactions?
Sometimes it was amazement, and sometimes I actually had doctors argue back with me, saying that a human body can't do that, because I can dislocate part of my foot.
Her mom, Amy Presson, had to advocate for her daughter.
You've got that mama bear thing going on too. Look at your binder. Show us your binder. I mean,
my binder has like lab report.
She can be lighthearted now, but in the beginning, it was no laughing matter.
So you go from specialist to specialist and try to have your symptoms believed. I know she would come home and just cry.
But those tears dried up when they finally met Dr. Monica Verduzco Gutierrez from UT Health San Antonio. She's one of the world's leading experts on long COVID, the now official condition referring to the lasting ranging symptoms that hit after a bout of COVID. She was just one of 20 people who, for the last year and a half, put a paper together describing long COVID. At the direction of Health and Human Services, the National Academy of Medicine just approved the paper, listing long COVID as an official condition.
Finally, you're no longer being told that's not possible or you're wrong.
we know that you can have a mild case and still develop long COVID.
Exactly, right.
Okay.
See, people, I had mine was literally like sniffles, like it felt like allergies. And so, and then I got long COVID.
Part of Gutierrez's passion is that she's also a patient. Her main symptoms, severe fatigue.
I could easily before go run a half marathon. I would go and run 3 miles and then not be able to run or anything for days and be very exhausted from that. The other thing was having, palpitations or having heart rate changes and feeling really bad with that. I also had really bad migraines and also was getting really bad hives and rashes.
The paper lists over 200 symptoms that could be included in a long COVID diagnosis. The main symptoms Gutierrez sees are autoimmune disorders like POTS, fatigue, heart problems, lung problems, migraines, diabetes, asthma, brain fog, or even dementia onset. The condition's designation is a huge deal, considering it can be confusing to doctors when a patient has multiple seemingly unrelated symptoms. The theory is that all organs can be affected and all issues could be caused in some way by inflammation. That's where the next step comes in, training medical professionals to spot these symptoms and immediately refer to a long COVID specialist.
So now how do we get it to the people at the front lines, to primary care, to, for other clinicians to understand the definition? Hopefully we start teaching about it more in medical schools and in residencies.
The solution then would be speeding this up and making sure that the education and dissemination is a key focus.
Exactly. Now it's getting it out there.
Getting patients in quickly is crucial because there are therapies helping ease these symptoms. Less than a year ago, we went along with Dr. Gutierrez to one of her long COVID therapies that she also prescribes her patients. It's called flow therapy, typically used for heart patients. It helps blood flow through the body from the legs all the way up. It's helped immensely, giving Gutierrez the energy and ability to work on this paper and see her patients.
They feel okay right now from what I'm feeling.
The godsend therapy for Taylor and many other patients has been constant physical therapy.
I haven't taped my knees in probably over 6 months. I haven't worn ankle braces in about a year.
Seeing her now, you'd never know she has long COVID. This girl is the busiest teen we've ever met.
Wake up at about 5 a.m. because I have to be at school at 6 to be an athletic trainer, because we just finished with spring football right before school ended. And then I have my usual school day of doing GT and college courses. And then after school, I become PEP officer, where this coming year, I'm gonna help lead a team of over 100 ladies.
The problem with therapy, it costs money. And for years, most long COVID therapies haven't been covered by insurance. Many debilitated patients also have had issues getting on disability. Gutierrez and the Pressons hope that now changes with this official medical recognition.
There was a report also made to the Social Security Administration to say, like, okay, these are the 200 plus symptoms. They can be debilitating adults and children.
But when more of these diagnoses are finally made, there needs to be more places for patients to go. There are only about 40 long COVID clinics in the country, not even one per state. Luckily, there's one at UT Health San Antonio, but the wait list is not short. Years ago, when we started interviewing these long COVID patients, it was up to 6 months. Now, thankfully, it's dropped to about 2. Gutierrez says UT Health now also has a grant to make their clinic a one-stop shop.
Meaning, like, when you come to see me, that also there might be a physical therapist that's there, or there might be the pulmonologist that's there if you need that.
Meanwhile, the other solution Gutierrez needs to see is more research on long COVID to find out things like, are people with certain genes more at risk? Amy's husband, Taylor's dad, also has long COVID, but sadly has not responded to any treatments.
His symptoms, dizziness, fatigue, he had lots of falls, had to start using mobility devices, cane, walker, a standard wheelchair, and just recently she ordered him a custom wheelchair because he can't even sit upright and hold his neck up. Like, he has such extreme muscle weakness that he has to be fully reclined.
So while the whole Presson family continues to fight,
Give me a deep breath.
they want the world to know this.
It really can happen to anybody of any age.
Detroit has a certain reputation for its grit. We know that it hasn't always been the safest place to live.
Detroit police investigating after a 15-year-old is shot.
Detroit police are investigating a deadly shooting involving 3 children.
Breaking news on I-75, where gun violence on the freeway sends 2 children to the hospital.
The city at one point known all around the world for its dangerous crime is actually making a turnaround. According to Detroit's police department, homicides have been going down with a decrease of about 27% compared to 2023. In fact, the city ended the year of 2023 with the fewest homicides it's had in about 57 years. There's also been a 45% decrease in carjackings and then a 23% decrease in non-fatal shootings compared to stats from the previous year. But why? Part of the reason is what's called community policing, with local organizations stepping up to prevent crimes in their own neighborhoods. Now, I know that you might be a little skeptical, as a lot of people are. According to our survey on clickondetroit.com with 61 responses, 48% of people don't even believe the concept is something that can work. But thanks to a new program that's called Shot Stopper, violence in the most dangerous parts of the city is on a downward trend.
If we keep this strategy of strong law enforcement and community prevention and do this year after year, we're going to get to the city that we all want to see.
Mayor Mike Duggan on the reduction in crime partly because of the partnership between police and community activists. In total, 6 groups have been doing their part to reduce and prevent violence. For this piece, we're specifically talking about New Era Detroit, also known as the New Era Community Connection, a grassroots organization that's really making a difference.
They're making the streets more safer.
We've been consistent in doing this work for the past 10 years, man, and we've been intentional on making sure that our communities are put in a place to where we able to see some sort of elevation.
Zeke Williams is the founder and president of New Era Detroit, who was inspired to spark change for the youth.
We know a 2-year-old child and a 9-year-old child were both shot.
The 15-year-old tells police that he and someone else were simply walking when somebody drove up and started shooting at them.
You see time after time, you know, kids being hit by stray bullets or being shot or women being abducted and being raped. And, you know, we can't just sit back and say like, oh, that's messed up. You know, what does that show the next generation of kids?
New Era Detroit actively tries to make sure neighborhoods are safe in any way they can, including patrolling themselves to make sure there's no criminal activity going on.
Community policing is a real thing. You know, being able to handle issues, you know, that may not be, you know, cause for police to come out and get involved is extremely important. You know, putting ourselves in a position to where we done had our guys out and about moving around and de-escalated some things that could have turned, you know, a certain way.
Sometimes, unfortunately, there's not a chance for prevention. Here's video of New Era Detroit on guard after a woman was killed in a carjacking near a daycare.
That's something that we pride ourselves on, being an organization that people can trust out in the community, and making sure that we stand on the business of our people enough to say that we care about you enough to where we gonna look at our situations and handle them accordingly.
Their official area on the map at one point was the most violent and what's a combination of District 2 and 7 in the city.
You heard a lot of shooting.
But that's not the case so much anymore.
With the heat map, those are homicides and non-fatal shootings, and we wanted to ensure that they were deployed to the areas where it was the most gun violence. It looks like they're gonna roughly have like a 50% reduction. It's just really lifting our whole city up.
Deputy Mayor Todd Bettison is the creator of the Shot Stopper program, who saw the potential change that New Era Detroit could make years ago.
I met Zeke Williams back in 2015. Like I said, you know, he was doing it just out of the goodness of his heart, along with his organization. And so I've called on them many, many times before when I was with the police department, and now being deputy mayor with the city of Detroit and with American Rescue Plan Ag dollars, dedicating funding to CVI, it's only really enhanced and helped their organization to be able to do, like I said, more good work and push peace.
The deputy mayor is proud the city and federal government has also been able to help assist these groups with the tools that they need to be successful.
It feels great, you know, to have a concept in your head and really with community violence intervention, believing in it. I already knew that it worked from my years with the police department and having called community members, but being able to have funding to be able to allocate additional resources to them so they could do more of the good work that I knew that they could do.
Another element of the work New Era Detroit does is community service, not just once in a while, but year-round. Right now, the focus is giving the kids something to do while they're out of school.
We pass out resources, valuable, tangible resources. We do toys too for the kids, so all summer long, we got toys in the back of a big old box truck and basketballs, footballs, jump ropes, hula hoops. Getting kids back outside is extremely important to us.
Here at the group's building on Detroit's west side, people are able to come get assistance for the many things that they need. You can also get a clear glimpse of the positive work that's being done on display. One issue, however, is that the group can't be everywhere, yet that doesn't stop them from trying.
We move around the country a lot. One thing that we know is that the issues that we deal with in Detroit are the same issues they deal with in Chicago, same issues they deal with in LA, Houston, Birmingham, New Orleans, you know, Philly. all of these different places and where black communities exist, we deal with the exact same issues, whether it be systematically or through ourselves.
And thanks to a new bus, the wingspan of the group's reach is expanding to cities all across the nation that may be facing problems similar to those in Detroit. The hope and goal is for the organization to really make a change all over the country.
It's always an honor to have people on board, but our goal is to make sure that we got the people of the community on board and make sure that we're doing right by the people in the community.
They're being ultra successful, in my opinion, saving lives. And you can't even put a value on the price of even one life, but I know that they're saving more than one.
Just imagine how many other places can have the same effect if more people in the community stepped up in a comparable fashion. We have to be the ones making the change that we want to see.
And we've got even more solutions coming up right after the break.
I lose my mind when it don't fly. I don't miss fire, yes, hardwired day and night. I get my way. I'm a wild guy, live a wild life. I lose my mind when it don't fly. I don't miss fire, yes, hardwired, and I always up the stakes. Cause yeah.
Welcome back to Solutionaries. Let's check out our next story.
August 31st, 2015.
I guess they're gonna lock me up for the rest of my entire life.
A man named Armando Montalvo tried to break into the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. Workers inside recorded this footage that showed Montalvo charging at deputies before he was shot and arrested. Now, this was just the beginning of Montalvo's run-ins with the law and his journey through the court's mental competency process.
We're going to show you how a judge here in the state of Florida is really making a name for himself in keeping defendants with mental health issues out of jails just like the one behind me. We're going to show you how his program works, how prosecutors from all over the country are learning from it, and the limitations that are probably preventing a program like this one from happening in your city.
Leave me alone! In 2020, Montalvo was back. He live-streamed his latest encounter with Orange County Sheriff's deputies on social media. And once again, he was running from them outside the WWE Performance Center.
I didn't step on the property.
You walked right up to the door, right past me. You knew I was there.
We'll take it, man. We'll go to jail.
Montalvo went to jail, and he was charged with resisting arrest and battery on a law enforcement officer. Court records we pulled showed that this was his 7th arrest in 7 years. In each case, he was found not mentally competent to stand trial. And in each case, he was released from custody.
The competency system, at least in felonies, works, but it just doesn't accomplish anything.
Stephen Leifman is a judge in Miami-Dade County, and he's a pioneer in changing the way the legal system gets mentally ill defendants ready for court or competent to stand trial. Leifman helped develop and implement a program in Miami-Dade called the Criminal Mental Health Project. Law enforcement there is now trained to identify suspects who may have mental health issues. He says those suspects then have an option. They can go to jail or they can go to mental health treatment. And he says the program, which is mostly paid for by Medicaid, has gotten results. Over the last 10 years, arrests are down 71%. The number of people reoffending is down from 75% to 20%. And fewer arrests has resulted in Miami-Dade closing 3 of its jails, saving taxpayers $12 million a year. His work has gotten attention around the country, and now Leifman is opening a new place for help.
Here's how this facility is supposed to work. Somebody with a mental illness is picked up by police here in Miami. Instead of being brought to jail, they're brought here to the Miami Center for Mental Health and Recovery. It is here they will get treatment. They will be rehabilitated.
I'm going to take you into our receiving facility, which is amazing.
Leifman showed us around with the top prosecutor from the Orlando area, Andrew Bain.
So you'll come up here. You'll come into the crisis stabilization unit. All rooms are for one person, but this has a little seating area. You know, I tell people it's not that they don't want to take their medication by the time they get to us. They don't care if they breathe by the time they get to us.
We just saw people just walk right back out the door, and then we'll see them back again.
Sometimes they would get arrested before they left the courthouse.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right.
They'll be right back in.
It was ridiculous.
Miami-Dade spent $51 million to renovate this building to help more than 9,000 people a year.
It's one of the biggest things. Y'all got to treat somebody like a human first.
It's not complicated, is it?
Yeah, it's all treat like a human first, and then
it's all common sense.
So many other issues.
Exactly right.
What do you think about all this?
This is amazing. It truly is. It's something that it's needed, in Orlando and in Osceola County.
And he says he wants to make that happen, but to do it, he says it's going to take a lot of money.
We have a great group of people that are working on this project and desire this to happen. It's just we need the extra boost of the legislature and the community and to say yes to the project.
I think if you talk to the jail director, he would tell you that he runs the largest mental health facility in the county.
That's Chief Judge Lisa Munyon, who oversees the courts where Bain prosecutes his cases. She says implementing any new mental health program takes money that she doesn't have. And that's an issue a lot of local governments are dealing with.
How realistic is it to expect funding from the legislature for something like this?
We took that question to Tom Keene, who represents portions of Orange and Osceola counties in Florida's State House.
We don't need to be incarcerating people who are mentally unhealthy, right? And yet jail systems are doing exactly that. And that doesn't seem to be what we should be doing with our criminal justice system.
This sounds like an issue you could champion, get behind?
Absolutely.
We contacted other legislators and we found support for this on both sides of the aisle. Republican Florida State Senator Jason Broder says that he'd be happy to work with Bain on having a mental health treatment center in Central Florida. And Democrat Ana Escamani told us we need to focus on intervention versus incarceration.
Do you want to be arrested for this crime, or would you like to go voluntarily into this diversion program?
Bain says he'll be working to make that question an easy answer during the next legislative session, hoping to bring a much-needed solution to an increasing problem.
Scammers are getting smarter when it comes to getting their hands on your money, and you're no longer just at risk at the gas pump. Skimmers were found all over Florida at ATMs, marinas, convenience stores, even some grocery stores. So what's the solution to this problem? We spoke with the U.S. Secret Service agent who tells us some old school advice can no longer be trusted. 15 seconds is all it takes for a skimmer to be in business. You're watching video provided to us by the U.S. Secret Service, taken right off the dark web.
You know, you could see in real time, it's not super complicated. You stick your card in, it steals the data off your card, you pull your car out, you have no idea that thing's in there.
That was easy.
Very easy, and then he can show you how they extract it. You put the key in and pull it out, and there's your skimmer. Download the data and start making fake cards or start doing transactions pretty quick.
This is the latest skimming technology that's really making things easier for scammers. There's no security tape or locks involved.
But you can jiggle the front all you want. They haven't tampered with the front of the device, so it's not gonna move, or it shouldn't move if it's legitimate.
So it's not enough anymore to just check for the tape if it's tampered with.
No, again, I mean, we've seized like pallets of counterfeit.
Security tape, yeah.
Very difficult for a consumer to detect that. There's counterfeit foil seals all over the internet. So even though the little seal on the gas pump's broken, that can easily be replaced.
The idea is to steal your data from the magnetic stripe on your card, bypassing the security of a chip reader.
This is one that was taken off of an ATM machine, right? So again, same deal. The skimmer's inside, so even though you stick it in, hey, I'm using my chip, I'm good to go, but your mags still pass through there. And then they'll have this pinhole camera. You can see it's very small there.
Just right here?
Yeah, it'll sit above the device, so when you type in your PIN code, you know, they're not only stealing your mag stripe data, they're stealing your PIN code.
In the past, scammers would use a key to open a gas pump or place a facade over a legitimate card reader. That's where the advice to check for tampered security tape and to jiggle the card reader comes from. But the bottom line is that it's easily done. Let's watch how this scammer installs a skimmer using a master key.
You know, he has the key, it opens the pump.
That was it?
That was it.
Wow. It was so quick. Let's walk you through that video again. He's using the master key to open the gas pump. It's something that's easy to find online and duplicate. Just like the security tape you see on gas pumps can be bought by the roll. Special Agent Joe Scargill says scammers are constantly evolving with the times.
It's like playing chess, right? You move your piece, I move mine, you move your piece, I move mine. You come up with a new technology, we come up with a way to defeat it.
The FBI estimates that skimming costs financial institutions and consumers more than $1 billion each year. It's not hard to see why. The technology is advanced and it's disposable. Even when a skimmer is confiscated by law enforcement, a criminal still has your data.
Anything where you're physically putting your card in, you're going to be at a risk for this to happen.
So what can you do to protect yourself? You can try jiggling these machines or even checking underneath where there might be a security camera or tampered with security tape. But really the best way to protect yourself here is by using tap to pay options, whether that's with your phone or a credit card.
Number one, you got to keep track of your bank statements, right? Number two is I would use my near field communication as much as I could. That information is very difficult to compromise. The mag stripe of your card isn't passing anywhere through, you know, a physical skimming device, so that's a very secure way to conduct a transaction.
There might be another reliable way to detect a skimmer using an app. It's called Card Skimmer Locator, and it's pretty simple to use. Just take it out at the gas pump, and if the skimmer is using a Bluetooth device, it should alert you. We tested it at 5 different local gas stations. It's easy to use, but it's not foolproof. It all depends on what kind of skimming device a criminal is using.
It's a fake overlay. There's no Bluetooth in there. So the person physically installs this, lets transactions go for a week or so, comes back and takes it, and then they have the information. So if you know your app that scans for Bluetooth signal isn't going to detect this because there isn't one.
Using Google Wallet, Apple Pay, Tap to Pay, or even gas station rewards apps that allow you to pay from your phone is the safest option to avoid skimmers, at least for right now.
I'm sure someone will figure out how to steal that right down the road. So it's a constantly evolving environment.
So what can you do to protect yourself? Well, using a credit card wherever you can is important here. Using a debit card does not offer you the same consumer protections. You can file a dispute with your credit card company if you are scammed, and in most cases you can get your money back. Otherwise, use Tap to Pay with your phone wherever you can, and stay vigilant. For Solutionaries, I'm Tiffany Salome.
Sit tight, we have so many more solutions to share with you.
What's going on, everyone? I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, and I hope that you are ready for updates on storm tracking, hurricanes, and all kinds of weather-related content coming to you on our YouTube channel, Just Weather. All you have to do is scan that QR code on the screen to like, share, and subscribe to all of our weather-related updates, stories, and video content. All right, now back to Solutionaries.
Welcome back to Solutionaries, the show where we celebrate creative thinkers and doers in our community.
A
startling number of families depend upon the welfare system to survive. Housing, food, spending money, you name it. And history shows us that that cycle will continue generation after generation. Well, here at a special school called the Academy, a foundation is trying to break that cycle by teaching not just the kids, but their parents as well. These kids are students at a Roanoke school you've probably never heard of. It's the Academy, a privately funded experiment to educate kids in a way that breaks the cycle of poverty.
About 10% of our population is dependent upon government welfare programs to make a living. That was a very stunning statistic for me and my wife, and we wanted to do something about it.
John McLeod is a successful businessman who says he wanted to give back in a meaningful way. So he repurposed one of his real estate holdings to create this school. As of April 2024, there are 63 students who come from families where there is little hope of escaping the pull of poverty and life in the welfare system.
Over 6 years, this is our 6th year now, we're graduating our first class this year in the 5th grade, and we've had about 1/3 success in getting parents out of poverty, families out of poverty, and that's 6 years, but this year we're more like 2/3. We're much better at it now.
There's a lot of things to do here, and there's a lot of things to learn every day.
We're having a lot more success with it, and we're real proud of that.
3, 2, 1.
2 and then 1.
A part of the success, of course, is the small class size and personal interactions with teachers.
So just keep it up. Just keep it up.
But the real key is what you don't see. Parents of these kids receive training too. They must have a real desire to get off of welfare, out of public housing, and learn how to function in a job that pays well enough they can be self-sufficient. Not easy.
We have children here, John. They're in the 4th generation of welfare. And think about that. That's, grandma, aunts and uncles. That's a tough environment to want to get out of. The other thing we've learned is if you want to leave that environment, you get somewhat ostracized by your families. You're better than me. What are you doing? You're leaving, you're going to a different neighborhood. That's a lot of pressure, and we didn't understand that when we started.
McLeod says people on welfare in Roanoke receive about $35,000 worth of living expenses a year. So to get parents off welfare, they need to be able to find jobs that pay better. Let's say you make $15 an hour. Well, that's only $31,200 a year, less than the welfare package. $16.83 an hour, just for reference, is $35,000 a year, the same as the welfare package. $20 an hour gets you to $41,000 and change, a little bit better than $35, but maybe not enough to make you want to work that hard. But $25 an hour gets you to $52,000 a year. Now you can live a better life and break the cycle of poverty.
It's evolved from a safety net to a cobweb. It's very easy to get in and very difficult to get out.
Go and add those up.
Our goal is to make sure that we are taking care of our parents and taking care of our children and making sure this is the best part of our children's day.
Students at the Academy, 95% of which come from single mother households, eat better than average school lunches.
So this is a chicken stuffed with cheddar and broccoli.
In addition to reading, writing, and arithmetic, they get life training, lots of field trips, and visits from workers who talk about their different jobs.
It's little things that we do in life skills. We teach them, gratitude, how to give gratitude, how to show it. Write a thank you note. The art in writing thank you notes instead of, anybody can write an email. But to take the time to learn how to write a thank you note.
While students often thrive here, it can be more challenging for the parent, usually a mother. When a parent doesn't do the things that they need to do to get out, what happens to them? What happens to them in the program?
Well, unfortunately, we have limited funding here, so if we have a parent that doesn't want to become self-sufficient, and that's clear in our process, they get lots of counseling and lots of touches, we have to ask them to leave, and unfortunately, we have to ask their child to leave as well. That's right. If you don't make the grade at school and at home, you're out.
McLeod doesn't want another cobweb. The McLeod Family Foundation pays for most of this. The rest comes from donors.
It costs about $15,000 per child. And so with that, about 10 of that is going towards the school and 5 of that is going towards family outcomes. That's roughly the same amount that the local school systems spend.
Do you think this works?
Absolutely.
As the first class of 5th graders graduates this spring, transferring to public middle schools, McLeod estimates 2 out of 3 families will have transitioned off of welfare. Several have purchased homes and have good-paying jobs. It's only been 6 years, but the Academy appears to be a worthwhile experiment.
This school is special to me.
That's what our real mission is. If we're successful in getting families out of poverty, we know the kids in the school now are going to have a much better life, but more importantly, their kids are almost certainly going to be middle class or upper middle class when they grow up. And we've changed the direction of that family and a lot of family members. And that's our real mission. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more solutions coming up.
I lose my mind when it don't fly. I don't miss fire, yes, hardwired day and night. I get my way. I'm a wild guy, live a wild life. I lose my mind when it don't fly. I don't miss fire, yes, hardwired. And I always love the States, cause yeah.
Welcome back to Solutionaries, the show where we celebrate creative thinkers and doers in our community.
A major problem made very clear by this map: childcare desert. While the white and gray areas indicate no deserts, the different shades of red show zip codes where the number of children 6 and younger exceeds the number of childcare seats in that area, thus a desert. The darker the red, the bigger the problem, with little to no access to safe, affordable, high-quality childcare.
250,000 children in the greater Houston area that are sort of close to lacking.
Bob Sanborn is president and CEO of Children at Risk.
And we have a city where the majority of our families are low income and they want to work, yet one of the biggest challenges for them is finding high quality childcare. One of the things that we know, Zach, is that high quality childcare has a significant impact on academic success throughout that child's academic career. So the lady down the street, maybe it's a clean house, it might be safe, but we just don't know if a lot of learning is happening. And I think what parents really want is the clean, safe place down the street where we know it's high quality and we know it's getting them ready for high quality academic.
Ensuring these places exist, Harris County, United Way of Greater Houston, and Baker Ripley teamed up to create a pilot program called Early Reach. It created nearly 1,000 new spaces for high-quality early childhood education for kids up to 4 years old across the county at no cost to the family.
This is a 2-year pilot program. We're coming up to 1 year in May. So the program is going to receive funding for another year, and children are going to start growing out of the program.
Elizabeth Hale is communications manager at Baker Ripley. She says by the time a child ages out of the program, they are prepared to enter pre-K or kindergarten. Parents are able to continue with school or work and do not have to sacrifice stability.
Anybody need?
My First Steps Learning Academy is one of 26 early reach centers in the county. Shannon Harris is a teacher at the center.
What does this childcare mean to these children and their families?
They love that their children are actually learning and they can see the progression.
And the standards are higher at early reach because, again, it's not about just sending your kid here and knowing that you're going to pick them up at the end of the day. It's about education.
I say 3, you say 4! And somewhere in early education is a lesson we all could learn from, regardless of our age.
And thank you so much for tuning in to Solutionaries. If you'd like to see even more solutions, we have so many extraordinary stories on our YouTube page. It is youtube.com/solutionaries. And if you know of a problem and you're looking for solutions or you'd like help, scan the QR code. We want to hear from you. That's all for now. Thank you again so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.